The first time I saw the man outside our apartment, Maddie told me not to look. That was what made me look. We were sitting at the kitchen table eating noodles from plastic containers because neither of us felt like cooking. It was a Friday night, cold enough that the windows had fogged around the edges. The apartment smelled like soy sauce, wet coats, and the cheap candle Maddie lit whenever she wanted the place to feel cleaner than it was. She was mid-sentence when she stopped. Her fork stayed halfway to her mouth. I followed her eyes to the window behind me. "Don't," she said. I turned anyway. Across the street, under the broken light by the laundromat, a man stood beside a parked sedan. He had his hood up, hands in his jacket pockets, face angled toward our building. He wasn't doing anything dramatic. He wasn't pacing or pointing at the windows. He just stood there. I couldn't even see his face clearly. But Maddie had gone pale. "Who is that?" I asked. She didn't answer. "Maddie." She set her fork down, wiped her mouth with a napkin, then got up and pulled the blinds shut. "Just ignore him." That was the first thing that bothered me. People don't say ignore him about strangers. I stood. She grabbed my wrist. "Please don't go out there." "Who is he?" "I don't know." "You know." She looked tired all of a sudden. Not scared exactly. More like she had expected this and still wasn't ready for it. "It's probably Derek," she said. "Probably." She nodded. "Your ex?" She did not answer fast enough. That should have told me something. But I was already angry by then. I had heard about Derek before, not in detail, but enough. He was the guy before me. The guy who called too much after they broke up. The guy who showed up at her work once. The guy whose name made her jaw tighten. At least that was the version I had. That was the version I used. "Why didn't you tell me he was still bothering you?" I asked. "Because I didn't want this." "What is this?" She looked at my hand still curled around the chair. "You getting like this?" I laughed once. Not because it was funny. Because I hated when people acted like anger was unreasonable just because it was loud. "There's a man outside watching our apartment," I said. "How should I be?" She crossed her arms over herself. "I don't know if he's watching." "Maddie." "I don't." "You just told me not to look." She looked toward the blinds. The streetlight outside flickered through the slats. When I moved to open them again, she stepped in front of me. "Ethan, please." I stopped. Not because I was calm. Because I liked the way she said my name when she needed me. That sounds bad now. At the time, I thought it meant something sweet. I thought it meant she trusted me. I walked to the door instead. Maddie followed. "Don't. I'm just going to talk to him." "No." "So he gets to stand there?" "He wants a reaction. Then he'll get one." I opened the door before she could stop me. By the time I got downstairs and out to the street, the man was gone. The sedan was still there, parked by the laundromat, but the driver's side was empty. I walked around it once. Old Toyota, gray, clean, except for salt on the lower doors. There was a folded paper under the windshield wiper. I pulled it free. It had one sentence written in black marker. "Are you safe?" I stood there for a while with the paper in my hand. Then I looked up at our apartment window. Maddie stood behind the blinds, one hand holding them apart just enough to see me. When I got back upstairs, she was waiting in the hall. I held up the paper. She stared at it. "What is this?" I asked. She shook her head. "Why would he ask if you're safe?" "I don't know." "Is he threatening you?" "I don't know." "Stop saying that." "I don't know because I don't know, Ethan." She tried to take the paper. I pulled it back. Her eyes moved to my hand, then to my face. That was the first time I noticed she looked afraid of me too. I didn't like that. So I softened my voice. "Hey," I said. "I'm not mad at you." She looked away. "I know. I'm mad at him. I know. You understand that, right?" She nodded. I put the paper on the counter and pulled her into me. She stood stiff for a second, then let me hold her. I kissed the top of her head. "You're safe with me," I said. She didn't say anything back. I thought she was scared. I thought she was grateful. I thought a lot of things that made me feel good. The next morning, the Toyota was gone. So was the note. I had put it in the junk drawer after Maddie went to bed. When I woke up, the drawer was open and the paper wasn't there. Maddie was in the bathroom brushing her teeth. I stood in the doorway. "Where's the note?" She looked at me in the mirror. "What?" "The note from last night." She rinsed her mouth. "I don't know." "You threw it away?" "No." "You sure?" She turned around slowly. Why would I lie about throwing away a note? I didn't answer. She wiped her mouth with a towel and tried to move past me. I stayed in the doorway. She looked at the floor between us. "Can I get through?" I stepped aside. She walked past without touching me. That bothered me more than it should have. Maddie and I had been together for 7 months then, living together for 2. It had moved fast, but it made sense at the time. Her old roommate was moving out. My place was closer to her work. Rent was high. We liked each other. At least that was the easy version. The truth was that I liked knowing where she was. Not in a crazy way. That's what I told myself. I just liked routine. I liked knowing she'd come home after work. I liked that her makeup was on my bathroom shelf and her shoes were by my door. I liked that when her phone buzzed at night, I could ask who it was without sounding insane because we shared a bed. Some people make it hard to love them because they keep parts of themselves hidden. Maddie was like that. She would smile and talk and make jokes, but there was always a locked room somewhere inside her. I could feel it. Every now and then, I'd get close to the door and she'd move away. I thought Derek was behind that door. I thought if I could get rid of him, I would finally get all of her. That is an ugly sentence. It is still true. The second note came 3 days later. This time it was taped to her car. I found it before she did. I had gone down to move my car because the city sweeper was coming. Maddie's little blue Honda was parked behind mine. On the driver's window there was a white envelope held down with clear tape. No name. Inside was a cheap prepaid phone. One of those black plastic ones you buy at gas stations. There was also a note. "Keep this hidden from him. Call me when you can." No signature. I stood beside her car for a long time. People walked past me on their way to work. Someone's dog pulled at its leash and sniffed a trash bag. The laundromat sign buzzed across the street. I kept reading that line. Keep this hidden from him. Not Derek, not Ethan, just him. I could have taken the phone upstairs and asked her about it. I should have. Instead, I turned it on. There was one contact saved. L. I clicked the messages. The thread was empty except for one unsent draft. I'll be close tonight. If you can't talk, put the kitchen light on and off twice. My hands went cold. I read it again, then again. Then I pocketed the phone and took the envelope upstairs. Maddie was still asleep. Her hair was across her face. One arm was tucked under the pillow. She looked younger when she slept, softer, like the version of her I kept trying to keep around during the day. I stood by the bed and watched her for maybe a minute. Then I went to the kitchen, took the battery out of the prepaid phone, wrapped everything in a grocery bag, and put it in the trunk of my car. When Maddie woke up, I made coffee. She came out in one of my shirts and rubbed her eyes. You're up early. Couldn't sleep. She poured herself coffee, then noticed the envelope on the table. Her face changed. What is that? Found it on your car. She looked at me. What was in it? I smiled a little. Nothing good. Ethan, a phone. She gripped the mug tighter. A phone? Burner phone. What did you do with it? I leaned back in the chair. That's your question? She looked down. Not who left it. Not why is someone giving me a secret phone. Just what did you do with it? She rubbed her forehead. I'm tired. Are you talking to him? No. Then why would he give you a phone? I don't know. You know that answer is getting old. She set the mug down. It hit the counter harder than she meant it to. Maybe because he's insane. Derek? She didn't answer. That is Derek, right? She looked at me then. For 1 second I saw something on her face that wasn't fear. It was calculation. She was deciding what answer would hurt less. Yes, she said. I nodded. Okay. Her shoulders dropped slightly. That should have told me too. Instead, I took it as relief that she had finally been honest. I went to work late that day because I didn't want to leave her alone. She said she was fine. I said I knew she was fine, but I wanted to make sure. She said that didn't make sense. I said it made sense to me. That night, I parked my car across the street instead of in our building lot. I sat with the seat leaned back and watched the apartment. At 11:18, the gray Toyota came down the street. It parked half a block away. The man in the hood got out. He crossed to the opposite sidewalk and stood near the laundromat again. He looked up at our windows. The kitchen light was on. Maddie was inside. I had told her I was going to get gas and maybe drive around to clear my head. She didn't argue. She just nodded and asked when I'd be back. I watched the man pull out his phone. A minute later, my phone buzzed. Not my normal phone. The prepaid one in my glove compartment. I had put the battery back in. The screen lit up. Message from L. Are you alone? I stared at it. Then I typed back. Yes. The man across the street looked down at his phone. He typed fast. Can you leave now? I felt something sharp open in my chest. I wrote, Why? The reply came right away. Because he is escalating. You know that. I can take you tonight. Just bring your purse and ID. Don't pack. I read that sentence until the words stopped looking like words. Escalating. That was what people said about men they were afraid of. Not Derek. Me. I looked at the apartment window. Maddie moved behind the blinds. For a second, I wondered if she was watching me. Then I typed, I'm scared. The man across the street looked up at the window. He took one step closer to the building. Then he wrote, I know. I'm here. You're not alone. I almost laughed. It came up my throat like a cough. I opened the car door. The man did not notice me until I was already halfway across the street. He looked at me. I saw his face clearly for the first time. He was around 30, dark hair, light stubble, tired eyes, not threatening, not handsome in a movie way, just a normal guy who looked like he hadn't slept enough. His eyes moved to my hands. I wasn't carrying anything. That seemed to confuse him. Derek? I said. He looked at me. What? You're Derek? He took one step back. No. Then who are you? He glanced toward our apartment. I'm not here for you. Yeah, I got that. I don't want trouble. That's funny. He put his phone away. I need to talk to Maddie. No. Move. I stepped closer. He was a little taller than me, but not much. He held himself like he knew how to fight but didn't want to. That made me angrier. Whatever you think is going on, he said quietly. You're making it worse. Do you know how stupid that sounds? I'm not trying to threaten you. You gave my girlfriend a secret phone. He swallowed. She asked me to. I hit him before I really decided to. My fist caught him across the mouth. He stumbled sideways into the laundromat window. His head hit the glass with a dull thud. He touched his lip and looked at the blood on his fingers. Then he looked at me. Okay, he said. That was all. Then he hit me back. Hard. I didn't expect it. His fist caught me under the eye and everything flashed white. I swung at him again, missed, and he shoved me into the brick wall beside the laundromat door. He could have done more. That matters. He could have kept hitting me. Instead, he backed away and said, I'm calling the police. I pulled the prepaid phone from my pocket and held it up. With this? His face went blank. I smiled. That was when Maddie came running out of the building. She had no shoes on, just socks, jeans, and a sweatshirt. Stop, she shouted. The man looked past me. Mads, go back inside. Mads. Nobody called her that. Not me. Not anyone I knew. I turned toward her. She stopped on the sidewalk. Her eyes went from my face to his, then to the phone in my hand. I watched her understand. You took it, she said. I held it up. You mean Derek's phone? The man said, Who the hell is Derek? Maddie's face broke. Not into crying. Worse. Into fear she no longer had the energy to hide. Ethan, she said carefully, give me the phone. Come upstairs. No. Come upstairs, Maddie. The man stepped between us. She's not going anywhere with you tonight. I looked at him. You really want to do this in the street? He said, yes. There were people in the laundromat. 2 women folding clothes. A man by the dryers. They were all watching now. That was the only reason I stopped. I threw the phone at Maddie's feet. It cracked against the sidewalk. Fine, I said. Then I walked away. I went upstairs. I waited. She did not come back for almost 2 hours. When she did, she came with him. And a police officer. The officer was a woman, maybe early 30s, tired face, calm voice. She asked if she could come in. I said yes because saying no would look worse. Maddie stood in the hall behind her, arms crossed tight, face blotchy from crying. The man stayed near the stairs. The officer introduced herself as Officer Dale. She asked if there had been an altercation outside. I said the man had been stalking my girlfriend. The officer asked Maddie if that was true. Maddie looked at me. Then she looked at the floor. No, she said. One word. Small, not dramatic. No speech, no explanation, just no. I felt something inside me drop. Officer Dale turned back to me. Sir, who is Derek? I looked at Maddie. She wouldn't look at me. Her ex, I said. Maddie shook her head. The man in the hall spoke for the first time. My name is Liam Hart. I'm her brother. I laughed. Not because I believed him, because I needed not to. Maddie flinched at the sound. He's my brother, she said. Officer Dale took notes. My face was pulsing from where Liam had hit me. My hand hurt from hitting him first. Her brother who leaves notes on cars and stands outside our apartment at midnight, I said. Liam looked tired. She asked me to check on her. Because of Derek. Maddie finally looked at me. There is no Derek. That pissed me off more than anything else. Not the brother, not the cop, not the phone. That sentence. Because there had been a Derek. Not literally, maybe. Not standing outside. But there had been someone. There had to be. Maddie had given me pieces. An ex who called too much. A guy from her past. Someone she didn't like talking about. Maybe she never said his name was Derek. Maybe I found the name on an old Facebook photo and put the rest together. Maybe I asked, was Derek the bad one? And she said, I don't want to talk about that. And I treated silence like yes. But in that moment, with a cop in my living room and Liam standing in my hallway, I felt like she had tricked me. Officer Dale asked Maddie if she wanted to leave. Maddie nodded. I said, this is insane. Nobody answered. Maddie went into the bedroom. The officer followed. Liam stayed by the front door. We looked at each other. He had a split lip. I had swelling under one eye. I know what you're doing, he said quietly. Then you know more than me. You isolate her, scare her, make yourself the only safe person, then punish her when she tries to leave. You read that online? I watched my mother live it. That shut me up for a second. He stepped closer. You touch her again, and I'll come back with more than a phone. Officer Dale came out with Maddie a few minutes later. Maddie had one backpack. That hurt too. She had packed a backpack, not a suitcase, not boxes. A backpack, like she had planned to run. She walked past me without speaking. I grabbed her arm. Not hard, that's what I told myself. Officer Dale said, "Let go." I did. Maddie stared at the place where my hand had been. Liam guided her into the hall. Before she left, she looked at me one last time. I expected hatred. I expected fear. I got something worse. She looked sorry for me. Then she was gone. I didn't sleep that night. I cleaned. That's what I do when I can't think. I wiped the counters, washed dishes, took out trash, scrubbed the bathroom sink even though it was already clean, folded Maddie's clothes that she left behind and put them on her side of the bed. At 6 in the morning, I texted her, "Can we talk?" No reply. At 8, "I'm sorry about last night. I was scared." No reply. At 10, "You let him make me look crazy." Nothing. At noon I called, straight to voicemail. At 1 I drove to Liam's apartment. I knew the address because it was saved in the prepaid phone before I broke it. He lived 15 minutes away in a brick building near the train tracks. I parked across the street. Maddie's car wasn't there. That calmed me down a little. Then I saw her come out with a woman I recognized from pictures. Tessa, Maddie's best friend. I never liked Tessa. She smiled too much when I said something serious. She had a way of looking at me like she was waiting for me to prove a point she already made. Maddie got into Tessa's car. They drove away. I followed. Not close. I'm not stupid. They went to a diner on Crescent. I sat in my car outside and watched through the window. They sat in a booth near the back. Tessa held Maddie's hands across the table. Maddie cried. I had never seen her cry like that with me. Not once. With me, she got quiet. She wiped her face quickly. She said she was fine. With Tessa, she bent over the table like something had snapped in her chest. I could not hear anything, but I could see Tessa talking. Fast. Angry. Then Tessa took out her phone and turned it around. Maddie read something on the screen. She covered her mouth. Then she nodded. I waited until Tessa went to the bathroom. Then I called Maddie. She looked at her phone. Declined. I called again. Declined. I texted, "I'm outside." She looked up. Our eyes met through the glass. Even from the parking lot, I saw her face change. She stood so fast the table shook. Tessa came back from the bathroom and followed her gaze. She saw me. Then she did something stupid. She came outside, alone. She walked right up to my car and slapped her palm on the hood. "What the hell is wrong with you?" I lowered the window. "I need to talk to her." "She doesn't want to talk to you." "I'm not talking to you." "Yeah, I know. That's part of the problem." I looked past her. Maddie was still inside, standing by the booth with both hands near her mouth. Tessa leaned closer to the window. You need to leave her alone. She's my girlfriend. She was your girlfriend. That sentence went through me clean. Was. Like she got to decide. Like everyone had voted while I was sleeping. I opened the door. Tessa stepped back, but not enough. I got out. I'm going to speak to her. No, you're not. She's an adult. Exactly. We stood there by my car with the diner windows full of people pretending not to look. Tessa lowered her voice. I know about the phone. Good. I know you took it. Good. I know you've been telling people Liam is her ex. I smiled. Did Maddie tell you that? She didn't have to. Then maybe she should speak for herself. She has been trying to. I looked at Tessa then. Really looked. She wasn't scared of me. Not enough. That was her mistake. You don't know anything about us, I said. I know she had to hide money in a tampon box. I stared at her. I know she memorized my number because you check her phone. I felt heat crawl up my neck. I know she was afraid to shower too long because you'd ask who she was texting. Stop. I know she sleeps on the edge of the bed because you block the door. Stop. And I know if you don't leave right now, I'm going back inside, calling Officer Dale, and telling every person in that diner to watch you until she gets here. I got back in the car. Not because I was afraid, because she had said it too loudly. People were watching now. I drove away. For the next 6 hours, I don't remember much. I remember buying cigarettes even though I don't smoke. I remember sitting in a grocery store parking lot and reading old messages from Maddie. I remember deleting some. I remember looking at a photo of us from a lake trip and zooming in on her face to see if she had already been unhappy then. That is a bad habit. Trying to find the exact second someone stopped loving you. You won't find it. You will just make yourself mean. At 9:12 that night, Tessa called me. I let it ring. Then I answered. What? Her voice was different. Quiet. Ethan, where are you? Why? Just tell me where you are. Is Maddie there? No. Then why are you calling? There was a pause. I think someone followed us. I sat up. What? I dropped Maddie at Liam's. I'm home now. There's a car outside. What car? I don't know. Dark. Maybe a sedan. I almost smiled. Not because she was scared. Because now she knew. You should call Liam, I said. I tried. He's not answering. Call the police. I did. Good. Another pause. Then she said, I'm sorry. For what? For what I said at the diner. I closed my eyes. Hearing her apologize felt better than it should have. I'm just trying to help Maddie, she said. I know. I don't think you're evil. That was a strange thing to say. I still remember it. I don't think you're evil. People only say that when part of them does. There was a sound on her end. A knock. Not at her front door. Something closer. Maybe glass. Tessa? She whispered. He's at the back. I sat forward. Who? I don't know. Then the line cut. I drove to her apartment. I know what that looks like now. I know what they said later. They said if I was really worried, I would have called 911. They said I should have stayed away. They said I had no reason to go there except to do what I did. But in the moment, it felt simple. Tessa called me. Tessa needed help. And if Derek or Liam or whoever he wanted to be was there, I would handle it. Her apartment was on the first floor of a 4-unit building. The porch light was off. The front door was open 2 inches. I parked at the curb and left the engine running. Inside, the living room lamp was on. A glass lay broken on the floor. Tessa? No answer. I stepped inside. The place smelled like lavender spray and something burned. Her purse was on the couch. Her phone was on the floor near the hallway. The screen was cracked. A noise came from the bedroom. A scraping sound. I grabbed a kitchen knife from the block on the counter. Then I walked down the hall. Tessa was on the bedroom floor. She was alive when I found her. People forget that part. Or maybe they don't know it. She was on her side, one hand pressed to her stomach. Blood had soaked through her shirt and spread onto the carpet. There was a line of blood on the wall where she had tried to stand and slid back down. Her eyes moved toward me. I knelt beside her. Who did this? Her mouth opened. No words came out. I pressed my hand over the wound because that's what you're supposed to do. She grabbed my wrist. Hard. Her nails dug into my skin. I leaned closer. What? She whispered. You. I pulled back. She kept holding my wrist. You, she said again. I looked at the knife in my other hand, then at the blood. The room tilted slightly. Memory is strange when you're angry. People talk about blacking out like everything goes blank. That isn't how it feels. It feels more like your mind becomes selective. It saves pieces and throws away the rest. I remembered Tessa opening the door. I remembered her saying, "How did you get here so fast?" I remembered her backing up. I remembered telling her she shouldn't have called me if she didn't want me there. I remembered her reaching for her phone. I remembered the knife already in my hand. But those memories came later. Not then. Then I only heard her say, "You," and I hated her for making it real. She tried to scream. I put my hand over her mouth. "Stop," I said. She bit my palm. I jerked back. She dragged herself toward the nightstand. There was a lamp on it. She grabbed the cord and pulled. The lamp fell, hit the floor, and the bulb shattered. I hit her with the base of it. Once. The sound was thick and small. She stopped moving for a second. Then she made a noise like she was trying to breathe through water. I hit her again. After that, she was quiet. I stood in her bedroom with the bloody lamp base in my hand. The knife was on the floor. My palm was bleeding where she bit me. I looked at the room and understood what it was. A problem. Not a person. A problem. I cleaned badly. That is the truth. You think you'll be smart in that situation, but you won't. Your hands shake. You forget obvious things. You wipe the knife, but not the drawer handle. You clean the blood from the hallway but step in it again. You take her phone and forget the charger. I used bleach from under her sink. Too much. The apartment smelled like a swimming pool by the time I left. I locked the door behind me because that felt normal. Then I drove home. Maddie called me at 11:03. I almost didn't answer. When I did, she was crying. Where's Tessa? I don't know. She called me and said someone was outside. I sat on my kitchen floor with my back against the cabinet. I haven't heard from her. She called you too? No. She said she was calling you. She didn't. Maddie sobbed once. I'm scared. I closed my eyes. There it was. The thing I wanted. The thing I thought would fix everything. She was scared and she had called me. Not Liam. Not Tessa. Me. I'll come get you, I said. No. Maddie. No, I'm staying with Liam. Liam can't protect you. He can. Then why are you calling me? She went quiet. I smiled a little in the dark. That was cruel. I know. But it felt good. Listen, I said softly. I know you're upset. I know people have been putting things in your head. But if Derek is doing this, he's not going to stop. There is no Derek. Then who hurt Tessa? She might not be hurt. You just said she was scared. Ethan, please don't do this. Do what? Make it a story where you're the only person who can save me. I didn't answer. She whispered, I want you to get help. That sentence ruined everything. Not because it was mean, because it sounded practiced. Like Tessa had given it to her. Like Liam had told her what to say. Like they all had a script, and I was the only one expected to improvise. I hung up. The next morning, Tessa's body was found by her landlord. By then, I had already showered twice. I had thrown my clothes in a dumpster behind a closed pet store. I had cleaned under my nails with a steak knife. I had slept for 40 minutes on the bathroom floor. The news said a woman had been killed in an apparent home invasion. I watched the report from my couch. Maddie called 6 times. I didn't answer. At noon, Liam called. I answered. You killed her, he said. No hello, no build-up, just that. I said, you need to be careful. I'm going to the police. Good. I'm giving them everything. What everything? The photos, the texts, the recordings. My mouth went dry. What recordings? He breathed hard through his nose. You really don't know, do you? I said nothing. She recorded you. I stood slowly. That's not true. She recorded you screaming at her. She recorded you saying you'd ruin her if she left. She recorded you outside Tessa's. You walked right past a doorbell camera. I gripped the phone. He continued. She's done. Do you understand? She is done. I hung up. Then I packed. Not like someone running forever, like someone taking control. I put clothes in a duffel bag. Took my passport. Took the cash from the shoebox in the closet. Took the prepaid phone pieces from my trunk and threw them into a storm drain 2 neighborhoods away. Then I drove to Liam's building. Maddie's Honda was there. So was Tessa's car. That hit me harder than it should have. Someone had brought Tessa's car over. Maybe before they knew. Maybe after. I parked behind the building near the dumpsters. It was dark by then. Cold. The kind of cold that makes every sound seem closer. I waited 3 hours. At 10:36, Liam came outside alone. He carried a trash bag in one hand and his phone in the other. I got out of the car. He saw me and stopped. For a second, neither of us moved. Then he reached for his phone. I rushed him. He turned and ran toward the back door, but I caught him at the steps. We went down hard. His head hit the concrete. The phone skittered away. He twisted under me and got one knee into my ribs. I punched him. He punched me back. He was stronger than he looked. He got on top for a second and drove his fist into my face twice. My lips split against my teeth. I grabbed the trash bag and pulled it over his head. Not planned. Just there. He bucked hard, elbowed me in the side, and almost got free. I wrapped the plastic tighter and hit his head against the bottom step. Once. Twice. The plastic muffled his sounds. He clawed at my arms. I slammed him again. The back of his head made a wet crack against the concrete edge. His body stiffened, then loosened. I pulled the bag off. His eyes were half open. Blood ran from his scalp down the step and into the dirt beside the walkway. He was still breathing. I could hear it. A rough, broken, pulling sound. I stood over him, panting, blood dripping from my lip onto my jacket. That was the moment I could have stopped. I think about that a lot, not because stopping would have saved me morally. That was already gone. But it would have saved him. Maybe. His phone lit up on the ground. Maddie calling. The screen showed a picture of them together. Maddie and Liam. She was younger in the photo, maybe 19. He had his arm around her shoulders. They were both smiling at a picnic table somewhere. Real smiles. Not polite. Not careful. I picked it up. The call ended. A text came through. Did you take the trash out? Ethan keeps calling. Please lock the door. Then another. Liam. I looked down at him. He tried to breathe. The sound irritated me. I don't know how else to say it. It was this weak, stubborn noise. Like even then he was refusing to be finished. I took the phone and put it in my pocket. Then I grabbed him under the arms and dragged him behind the dumpsters. There was a broken piece of concrete near the fence. I picked it up with both hands. Liam moved slightly. His mouth opened. I don't know if he said anything. I brought the concrete down on his head. The first hit made a sound I felt in my wrists. The second changed the shape of his face. The third was for silence. After that, I don't remember counting. When I came back to myself, I was kneeling beside him. My hands were cut from the concrete. Blood was on my sleeves. His face was not a face anymore. I sat there breathing in garbage smell and cold air. Then the back door opened. Maddie stood at the top of the steps. She had a kitchen knife in one hand. For a second, she looked right past me. Then she saw the blood. Then she saw Liam behind the dumpster. The sound she made did not sound human. She ran toward him. I stood. Maddie. She dropped beside him. She touched what was left of his head and pulled her hands back like it burned her. Then she turned toward me. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. I walked closer. He attacked me. She shook her head. He attacked me, Maddie. She kept shaking her head. I reached for her. She swung the knife. It caught me across the forearm. Not deep, but enough. I slapped her. Hard. She fell sideways into the dirt. The knife dropped. The second after I did it, I hated her for making me. That is how sick it gets. You hurt someone and then blame them for being there. She crawled backward. Don't, she said. I picked up the knife. Get inside. She looked at Liam. Please. Inside. I'll say whatever you want. That stopped me. Because she meant it. She wasn't trying to calm me down with love. She was negotiating. Like I was a man with a gun in a bank. I grabbed her by the hair and pulled her up. She screamed once. I put the knife against her side. Quiet. She went quiet. We went inside through the back door. Nobody was in the hall. I took her upstairs to Liam's apartment. The place was small and clean. Shoes lined up by the door. Dishes drying near the sink. A framed photo of Maddie and Liam's mother on the wall. It made me angrier than a messy place would have. It looked safe. I pushed Maddie into the living room. She fell beside the couch. I locked the door. Then I looked around for what Liam had meant. Photos, texts, recordings. His laptop was on the kitchen table. I opened it. Password. Maddie sat on the floor with one hand over her mouth. Password, I said. She didn't answer. I grabbed her by the neck and pulled her up. Password. She gasped. His birthday. What birthday? June 14th. I typed 0614. Wrong. I looked at her. She cried harder. Year. I tightened my hand. 1992. 6141992. It opened. There was a folder on the desktop. Maddie. Inside were recordings, audio files, videos, screenshots, photos of bruises, photos of the note on her car, a picture of the broken prepaid phone on the sidewalk, a video from the diner parking lot showing me standing over Tessa, another from outside Tessa's apartment, doorbell camera, me entering, me leaving 52 minutes later. My shirt different because I had turned it inside out. I watched myself on the screen. It did not feel real. That man walking out of Tessa's apartment did not look like me. He looked calm. That was the worst part. Not scared, not panicked. Calm. Maddie whispered, "I'm sorry." I looked at her. For what? She swallowed. For making you feel cornered. Even then, she was trying to survive me. I almost believed her. I wanted to. Delete them, I said. There are backups. Where? I don't know. I hit her again. She fell against the coffee table. A mug broke under her elbow. She cried out. Where? I don't know. Stop lying. I don't know. Liam did it. He didn't tell me. I believed that, which made it worse. Liam had been smarter than me. Dead, but smarter. Police would come. Maybe not that night. But soon they had my face, my car, my voice, my texts, everything. I stood in that apartment, breathing hard, while Maddie bled from her lip onto her brother's rug. Then someone knocked on the door. Maddie looked at it. I put a finger to my lips. The knock came again. A woman's voice said, "Liam, you okay?" "Neighbor." Maddie inhaled. I crossed the room fast and put the knife against her throat. She froze. The woman knocked again. I heard something. I whispered in Maddie's ear. "Say you're fine." She didn't move. I pressed the blade just enough. A thin line of blood appeared under her jaw. She closed her eyes. "We're fine," she called. Her voice cracked. The woman paused. "Who's we?" I squeezed Maddie's shoulder. "My boyfriend," Maddie said. The hall went quiet. Then the woman said, "I'm calling someone." I shoved Maddie away and opened the door. The neighbor was older, maybe 60, holding a phone in one hand and a laundry basket in the other. She looked at my face, then past me. Then she screamed. I grabbed her and pulled her inside. The laundry basket fell, spilling towels across the hallway. She swung the phone at me. It hit my cheek. I drove the knife into her stomach before I had time to think. She made a small surprised sound. Not a scream. Just surprise. I pulled the knife out. She folded forward. Maddie screamed behind me. The neighbor grabbed my jacket with both hands. Her phone dropped. I stabbed her again because she wouldn't let go. This time lower. She slid down the door frame, leaving a dark streak on the white paint. Her mouth kept opening and closing. I stood over her, knife in hand, and heard footsteps below. Someone else had heard. I grabbed Maddie and pulled her toward the bedroom. She fought me then. Really fought. She scratched my face, kicked my knee, bit my hand so hard I felt skin tear. I punched her in the side of the head. She hit the wall and dropped. I dragged her into the bedroom and shut the door. There was a dresser beside it. I pushed it in front. Someone pounded on the apartment door. A man shouted, "Open up!" Maddie was on the floor, dazed. I went through Liam's closet. Backpack, clothes, a baseball bat. No gun, no miracle. The window faced the alley behind the building. Fire escape outside. I opened it. Cold air came in. Maddie lifted her head. No. I grabbed her. She kicked at the window frame. I pulled her through anyway. She almost fell. For 1 second, she hung halfway out, hair across her face, one hand clawing at the inside wall. Then I climbed out after her and shoved. We landed on the fire escape. Metal rattled under us. The man at the apartment door kicked harder. The frame cracked. Maddie grabbed the railing and tried to scream. I slapped my hand over her mouth. Move. She bit me again. I let go. She screamed once before I hit her in the throat. Not as hard as I could. Hard enough. Her voice cut out. She clutched her neck and coughed. We went down the fire escape. Halfway to the ground, police sirens started somewhere close. I didn't think. I dragged her faster. At the bottom, she slipped. Her foot missed the last rung. She fell. Her head hit the edge of a metal trash bin. The sound was sharp. She dropped to the pavement and didn't move. I stood there with one hand on the ladder, listening to the sirens. For a second, I thought she was dead. Then she made a wet breathing sound. I picked her up. She was lighter than I expected. That broke something in me for a second. Not enough to stop. Enough to notice. I carried her to my car and put her in the back seat. Her eyes were half open. Blood ran from her scalp into her hair. She tried to speak. Nothing came out. "Don't," I said. "Save your energy." I drove. I don't remember choosing where. I just drove away from sirens, away from Liam's building, away from the back door, away from the dumpster where her brother lay with his head broken open because he loved her enough to come. At some point, Maddie's hand moved. I saw it in the rearview mirror. She was reaching for the door handle. I locked the doors. "Stop." She kept moving weakly. I pulled over near the river. It was an old service road behind a warehouse. Nobody around. No lights except the city glow across the water. I got into the back seat with her. She tried to push herself away. There wasn't room. "Maddie," I said, "listen to me." She shook her head. Her lips moved. No sound. I didn't want this. She stared at me. Her eyes were wide, but not in the way they had been before. There was no confusion left in them. No love either. Not even fear exactly. She looked at me like she was seeing the end of a road she had been walking for months. I touched her face. She flinched. That hurt. After everything, that still hurt. "Why did you make me the bad guy?" I asked. Her mouth moved again. This time I leaned close enough to hear the air form around the word. "You." I sat back. There it was again. Tessa's last word. Maddie's almost last word. You. Like I was the whole explanation. I got out of the car. I walked to the edge of the river and stood there with blood drying on my hands. Behind me, Maddie shifted in the back seat. Not much. I had taken her phone. I had Liam's phone. Tessa's was gone. The neighbor's phone was probably still on the floor. It didn't matter. By then, too many things were already moving without me. That is what people like me forget. You can control a person. You cannot control the space around them forever. Not the neighbor who hears, not the camera across the hall, not the backups, not the brother who saved evidence, not the friend who called before she died. You can win every argument and still lose the story. I drove to the hospital. That surprises people. They think I ran. I didn't. I carried Maddie into the emergency entrance myself. I shouted that she had been attacked, that a man had killed her brother, that a neighbor had been stabbed, that I had tried to save her. There was enough blood on me that nobody asked the right questions at first. They took her away. A nurse put me in a chair. Police came. I told them about Derek. I told them about the stalker outside. I told them about the notes. I told them he killed Tessa. I told them Liam attacked me because he thought I was Derek. That part got confused, but confusion helps if you make enough of it. Then Officer Dale walked in. Same tired face, same calm voice. She looked at me for a long time. "Ethan," she said. I started crying before she asked anything. That was not planned. I think I was actually sad. Not for the right reasons, but sad. I told her I loved Maddie. She said, "I'm sure you think you do." That sentence did more damage than yelling would have. Maddie survived. That was the first thing they told me. Severe concussion, bruised throat, broken wrist, internal bleeding. She would need surgery. She could not speak. They arrested me before sunrise. They found Liam behind the dumpsters. They found the neighbor in his apartment doorway. Her name was Ruth Palmer. She had 2 sons and a cat. I didn't know that when I stabbed her. I know it now because her oldest son spoke at the trial and looked at me like he wanted to climb over the railing with his hands around my neck. They found Tessa too, of course. They found my blood in her bedroom from where she bit me. They found bleach in the carpet. They found her phone in a storm drain 2 blocks from my apartment. I had thrown away the wrong phone. That almost makes me laugh. Almost. Liam's backups were in 3 places: his laptop, his email, a cloud folder he shared with Officer Dale the night Maddie left me. He had been doing everything right. He told Maddie not to confront me. He told her not to warn me. He told her that the most dangerous time was when she left. I heard that phrase in court maybe 20 times. The most dangerous time is when she leaves. The prosecutor said it during opening statements. Officer Dale said it on the stand. Maddie wrote it in her victim statement because she still could not speak well enough to read it herself. That was the first time I understood that everyone had known the rule except me. I thought leaving was betrayal. They knew it was the moment I would become honest. The trial lasted 9 days. They played recordings. My voice filled the courtroom. Not the voice I use in my head. Not the reasonable one. The real one. Me calling Maddie useless. Me telling her nobody else would deal with her. Me saying I could make people believe anything if she pushed me. Me laughing when she cried. I did not remember some of it. That is not an excuse. I just didn't. On the 4th day, they played the video from Liam's hallway. The camera showed the back door opening. Liam stepping out with the trash bag. Me coming from the side. No dramatic music. No editing. Just me rushing him. People in the courtroom cried when I pulled the bag over his head. Maddie left before the concrete. I watched it all. I don't know why. Maybe I thought if I looked away, people would think I was weak. Maybe I wanted to see if I felt guilty. I did. But guilt is easy when you are already caught. It doesn't bring anyone back. Here is the part I never told anyone. Not the lawyer, not the police. Not the doctors who kept asking if I experienced gaps in memory. Not even this notebook until now. There was never a Derek. Not in the way I said. There was a guy named Derek from her past. I didn't invent him completely. He went to high school with Maddie. They kissed once at a party. That was it. I found him on her old Facebook page one night while she was asleep. He was tagged in a photo from 8 years ago, standing beside her with a beer in his hand. I clicked his profile. Married, 2 kids, living in Arizona. I don't know why I picked him. Maybe because the name sounded right. Maybe because if I said your brother, the story didn't work. Maybe because ex made me sound like a boyfriend protecting what was his, and brother made me sound like exactly what I was. The first time I called Liam Derek, Maddie corrected me. I remember that now. She said, "That's my brother." I said, "Don't lie to me." She said it again. I told her if she kept lying, I would leave. She got quiet. After that, I used his name less. I said him, the man outside, the guy calling, the person messing with us. By the time I had to explain it to police, Derek was already there waiting for me. That is the thing about lies. You don't always build them from nothing. Sometimes you take one real piece and wrap it until nobody can see the shape anymore. Maddie came to court on the last day. She walked with a cane. Her hair had been cut short because of the stitches. There was a scar under her jaw where the knife had touched her. When she looked at me, I tried to hold her eyes. She looked away, not afraid. Done. That was worse. Her statement was read by Officer Dale. It said Liam had raised her after their mother died. It said Tessa had kept a bag of Maddie's clothes in her closet for weeks. It said Ruth Palmer had once brought Maddie soup when she was sick and had no idea she would die for knocking on the wrong door. Then it said, Ethan did not snap. He did not lose control. He controlled everything until control stopped working. That line got quoted in the article after sentencing. Life without parole. 3 consecutive sentences. Another 25 years for the rest. Numbers stacked on numbers, as if there is a practical difference between dying here and dying here 3 times. People wrote me letters after the case got attention. Some angry, some religious. Some from women who said I sounded like their ex-husbands. One man wrote that I should have finished the job. I gave that letter to the guards. I wish I could say I did it because it disgusted me. Mostly, I did it because I didn't want to know what it felt like to be understood by him. Maddie changed her name. I don't know where she lives. I don't know if she can speak normally now. I know she survived because Officer Dale sends a short update through the victim notification system every year. Not to me directly. To the prison record. Victim alive. Victim requests no contact. Victim requests continued privacy. The words are always the same. I read them anyway. Sometimes I still catch myself thinking she will come see me one day. Then I think of Liam, the way his phone lit up in the dirt. The picture of them at the picnic table. Her text asking if he had locked the door. People always ask why I did it. That is the question they like because it makes them feel separate from me. Like there is one answer. Jealousy, anger, control, abuse, fear. All of those are true. None of them are enough. Here is the most honest answer I have. Maddie was leaving, and I believed that meant she was taking something from me. So I took everything back. That is what I did. Not because I loved her too much. Because I loved myself in her life. I loved the version of me that existed when she was scared and I could say I was protecting her. The night outside our apartment, when Liam asked if she was safe, I thought he was the threat. That is the part people misunderstand. I was not pretending the whole time. I really believed I was saving her. That might be the worst thing about me. The last time I saw Maddie, she was being helped out of the courtroom. She stopped near the doors. Not for me. For Liam's empty seat. His jacket was folded over it. His girlfriend had placed it there during the trial because she said he hated cold rooms. Maddie touched the jacket. Then she walked out. I wanted her to look back. She didn't. I still remember the first note Liam left on her car. "Are you safe?" I used to think that note started everything. It didn't. It was just the first time someone asked her the right question.